Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Speaking to you all today is Mark Bro, Diasa's National On-Site Manager. A few housekeeping items before we get started today. All attendees will be receiving a copy of today's presentation slides and a recording of the webinar. If you have any questions during the presentation, you may submit your question in the comment section. We will follow up on all the questions submitted after the webinar. We also have a short survey at the end, and if you would kindly let us know how we did today, we would appreciate that feedback. And with that, let me go ahead and introduce you to Mark Bro.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us today. We really appreciate it. As Mackenzie said, my name is Mark Bro. I am the National On-Site Manager for Diasa. I joined Diasa in 2010 as part of an acquisition. My first position with the company was managing our Pasadena on-site team. I still manage that team, but I am also Diasa's national on-site manager as well. I've been in the drug testing industry since 1997, a very long time. I had a very rapid introduction to mobile on-site testing, which is my specialty, in 97. And it consisted of, I was hired on a Monday morning, I was trained that afternoon, and then the very next day was towing a trailer to a dock in Galveston to perform drug and alcohol testing on a tugboat crew. It was definitely a sink or swim situation, and fortunately, I swam. So it was really challenging, considering the minimum amount of training I'd had. But the job went well. In fact, that company I did testing for that day, they're now a Diasa client, and we actually did a job for them earlier this week. I'm thankful that Diasa's collector training program is much more stringent than the training program I went through when I started in the business. We'll talk about our training program a little later in the program. Today, I want to discuss the what, why, when, and where of mobile on-site testing. I hope you find it informative. I'll be sharing some of my own experiences with you. At the end of the presentation, we'll be answering a few questions. So if you're ready, we'll get started. So what is on-site testing? On-site testing is basically like a house call for businesses. We'll come to you, we'll come to your location to take care of the testing, so you don't have to pull your employees off of a job site and have them drive to a collection site to be tested. So instead of them coming to us, we go to you, and that's what on-site testing is. I've heard it referred to as off-site testing, but here on the Gulf Coast, at least we refer to it as on-site testing. So why on-site testing as opposed to sending someone to a facility to be tested? Well, there's several reasons. One is collector availability. So the collectors go to your site on your schedule at the date and time that you designate. So we're there on your schedule. Also is a reduced employee downtime. Your employees, they get tested in a very short amount of time and are able to return to work immediately. So you don't have to pay for their travel time to and from the site. And it also reduces liability in case of accidents while commuting to and from a collection site. It's also cost effective. As you know, time is money. There's less downtime because they aren't traveling and then waiting in a lobby to be tested. On-site collectors are at your site to test your employees as opposed to sitting in a waiting room and with several other people from other companies who are waiting to be tested. So there's also reduced opportunities for cheating. So many times we'll do jobs where the DER will set it up at a time when they're doing a meeting, like a staff meeting or a safety meeting first thing in the morning. So before the meeting wraps up, we'll go in and we'll set up and be ready to roll. Once they wrap up the meeting, They'll announce the names of the lucky people who were selected for the testing, and they'll send them directly to our area to be tested. They don't go to their car first. They don't go to their locker first. They go directly from that room where they're having a meeting to the location where we're at, and they get tested. And like I said, it greatly reduces the opportunity for cheating. So when can on-site testing be performed? Basically, for most any reason you would test if you were sending someone to a collection site. We do random testing. Let's say you have 15 people on your random list and you don't want to send them to a collection site to be tested. We can come to you and take care of all those tests for you. We also do, when we do jobs for refineries, turnaround jobs, we normally set up at like a contractor gate or close to a contractor gate. And many times refineries would do what they call gate randoms. A gate random is where the owner refinery, they will take care of a random selection of the employees, the contractors that are working at the refinery at that time. And they will turn off their access badges. So if you got selected, you go to the gate to badge in, it won't let you in, and security will tell you, okay, go over here to this trailer and go be tested. So normally when we do those tests, they're a quick test, a point of collection test. We'll give them the result. They pass it on. They show it to the guard at the security gate. If the test is negative, they're able to go in and go ahead and resume working. We also do, for turnaround jobs like that, we also do pre-access testing. And it's basically the same. We're set up at the gate. If someone shows up at the gate and needs to get in, needs access to the refinery, and they haven't had all of their tests done yet, we can complete all those tests for them right there at the gate. We take care of that. Then many times the refiner will allow a quick test or a point of collection test, a negative test, to act as a temporary pass for them to go ahead and access the refinery until the lab-based tests clear. So it's very becoming a very popular service for turnaround events. We also do many pre-employment job fairs. Job fairs can be at a contractor hiring center. We've done many at hotels. So the company will interview the candidates. If they feel they want to hire them, then they send them directly to us, and we take care of the tests on the spot. And we're also available for post-accident and reasonable suspicion testing 24/7, 365. And so who can perform on-site testing? Only collectors who are certified and that have been trained under the DOT regulations 49 CFR Part 40. They also must be certified. We do a lot of hair testing. We do a lot of oral fluid testing as well. They also have to be certified to do those collections. On-site collectors, they are responsible for securing the collection area before the testing commences. So they must ensure that all the specimens are collected, secured, processed, and according with those guidelines of 49 CFR Part 40. We always follow DOT guidelines for collections, even if we're doing non-DOT testing. Many companies have found, pardon me, many companies found, especially since COVID, that they prefer to train their own people to be the collectors. This is a training that Diasa also offers. If you need information on that, you can contact us after the webinar. I'd be glad to talk to you all about that. So it's a service that, or it's the companies decide to go ahead and do this so they don't have to send employees to a collection site or have someone come to them. They just go ahead and have an employee designated to take care of the testing on their own. Or if you choose, you can have a third-party site such as Diasa come out to your site to perform the testing. So there are different types of on-site testing. We can do with a mobile unit or trailer. Our clients that request this service, they find it very convenient. We just park in a designated area that our client has set up. They send their employees out to the mobile unit to be tested. Drivers, when we arrive at these sites, we have to have room. We do have to have room for parking, a room to maneuver a trailer or mobile unit, so we don't get stuck behind other cars or hopefully not hit somebody's car. So we need plenty of room for that. Also, since employees, many times if they're waiting to be tested, will be waiting outside. Sometimes a canopy may be necessary during rain or very hot days. And many times we will park near an entrance to a building, and employees will wait inside the building to be tested. And then when it's their turn, they'll just come out to the unit to be tested. We also can do testing without a mobile unit. We do this instead by using the facilities that are provided by our client that we're going to. Collectors need access to restrooms. For compliance reasons, while testing is taking place, only the collector, perhaps a monitor, and a donor may have access to that restroom that's being used. If there's room inside the restroom to complete all the paperwork, that's great. So if not, then we'll need a work area such as a nurse's station, maybe a conference room or a spare office to process all the paperwork and complete the testing process. We do a lot of short-term jobs, which are jobs where we go in and we may be there for just a few hours, or perhaps just that full day. Sometimes even 30 minutes, we'll go in and take care of a test and then we're out of there. That is probably our most common job, our short-term jobs. So we also get requests for long-term jobs. These are normally, as I mentioned earlier, for turnaround jobs at refineries. And they can be done with or without a mobile unit. They're usually done during turnaround season. And it can be as little as a week or up to a month or more. We normally set up near a contractor entrance gate, and the collectors are available to the contractor companies to perform pre-access tests. We do random tests, gate randoms, post-accident reasonable suspicion testing. In this situation, normally the owner site, the refinery, will pay for the on-site time, and then the contractor companies will pay for the actual tests. It's a great service. It reduces downtime at turnaround since they are usually on very tight schedules and they need productivity to be at its highest. Another service we offer at refineries and some other facilities as well is what we call semi-permanent on-site testing. This is where we set up shop inside a refinery using a site designated by the owner facility. And we perform testing services for contractors that work at that facility. We can also do testing for refinery employees as well. Again, it's the same as with long-term testing. It's to decrease downtime for the contractors. They simply send their employees to the site inside the refinery where we are set up. They get tested and they can return to work immediately following completion of their test. Then they have no travel outside of the facility. We currently offer this service at 2 locations in Texas. We have 1 location in Louisiana. We have 1 in California, and we also are doing that at a nuclear power plant in Pennsylvania. All right, so where can on-site testing be performed? At a large variety of locations. We do a lot of testing at airports and heliports. At airports, it's normally, we do tests for flight attendants and pilots. At heliports, we also do pilots as well. But most of the time when we do testing at heliports, It is for employees that are going offshore or coming in from being offshore on an offshore platform. We also do testing on offshore platforms where we will take the helicopter trip out to an offshore platform to perform the testing there. Those are normally done for post accidents or reasonable suspicion. We'll go out there and we'll take care of the test on the platform. We do a lot of testing for marine vessels, tugboat crews, on board ships, on board boat crews that are taking crew boats that are taking supplies out to the offshore platforms. We do testing every week for marine vessels. We do a lot of construction sites. As you can see from the pictures that are in this slide, on the bottom picture. So we've, this is showing a nighttime slide where we're doing some testing for a night shift. Also, the bottom right-hand picture where we're just set up at a construction site and really all they had access to was a porta-can. So we set up on a tailgate. It's not an ideal situation, but we do, we do the best we can with the situation we're given. So it's still very convenient for them. We pull right up to their site, get set up and take care of their testing right there on the spot. We do a lot of road construction crews. We have a site in Indiana that specializes in testing road construction crews. They have several mobile units. They'll just pull up to the job sites. And again, just as with other construction sites, the employees will go to the trailer, get tested, and they're immediately turn around and go back to work. We do a lot of testing for schools, testing faculty, we test students, bus drivers, and maintenance staffs. We do a lot of testing at hospitals for post-accident testing, and in many office situations as well. So we also do, so on-site services that we provide we can do basically any type of drug test. It can be DOT, non-DOT drug tests. We can do instant tests or point of collections. We do hair test collections, oral fluid or breath alcohol testing. And other services that we provide are on-site or audiometric testing, pulmonary function tests and respirator fit testing. We can do physicals. Our office in Harahan, Louisiana has canine drug detection services. We take the dogs to the heliports. They'll sniff the bags. If they find any detection, that's when the bag searches come in, and we'll take care of that service as well. So now that we've gone through all the process and how it works and what we do and all of that, let's say you decide, this sounds pretty nice. It's a great idea. I would like to do it. Here are some tips that can help you with the on-site testing process to help your job go smooth once we arrive to do the job. First is you want to schedule your job in advance. Okay, don't procrastinate. If you get your random selection at the beginning of the quarter, don't wait till the last week of the quarter to call us and say, hey, can y'all come out and do our testing? Call when you get your random selection. Call when they're at the beginning of it, so that way we can come up with a time that works is convenient for you. Because if you don't, many times at the end of that quarter, honestly, we get slammed, and most companies do this because a lot of people do procrastinate and they wait till the very end and they try to get it done. Well, the problem with that is that we may not be, if you want us there at 8 o'clock in the morning, we may not be able to be there at 8 o'clock because we have several other jobs that are already scheduled. So again, schedule in advance. Give them plenty of time and y'all decide on a date and time that works well for you. You also want to designate someone to assist the on-site collector. Normally this is like an HR rep or a safety person that is on site. They're usually in charge of calling the employees that are scheduled to be tested, and ensuring they get to the testing area. And there also would be our contact. Let's say we have a problem or someone doesn't show up. That's who we would contact so they could take an assist. So you also want to stay in contact with your on-site collector while the job is going on. Normally, when we get to a job, someone, whoever our contact is, will have the random list or a list of people that are to be tested, and they will share a copy of it with the on-site collector. So every once in a while, you want to go in and check on it. Say, let me take a look at your list so they can compare it with yours and make sure that everyone that you have called has actually shown up to be tested. Because many times you'll call someone, they'll either get lost, they may have taken off, decided they didn't want to do it, and decided to sneak out the back door. And that kind of thing does happen a lot. So it's important that you stay in contact with them, make sure that everyone you're sending there actually made it to the testing area to be tested. We also should always designate a waiting area for your employees that are waiting to be tested. You don't want to crowd the person that's doing the testing and have employees that are waiting to be tested standing right there around the area where the testing is taking place. And I'll give you an example. It's something that happened to me several years ago, and why this point is very important. Is when I first started in a business, as I told you earlier, I didn't have a whole lot of experience. I wasn't given a lot of training. So I was told to go to a job site, and it was at a beverage distributor. They had me set up inside of a locker room, which really is not a good place on a busy morning when people are coming in and out. Well, they had about 10 people to test, and they called all 10 people at one time. I was testing one gentleman and doing alcohol tests as well. Everyone else was standing right there behind him. Well, this gentleman I was testing had a positive alcohol screening test, and I showed him the results. Unfortunately, everyone else that was there waiting to be tested saw them as well. That's when I cleared out the locker room. I had everyone at that point wait outside, when I should have done it a little earlier before I started testing. But the problem was that by the time we finished that testing, basically everyone that was there knew what had happened. That employee was very upset, which I don't blame him. And he told his supervisor, by the time I got back to our office, that supervisor had contacted my employer, and we lost that account. And it was due because I didn't secure the area the way I was supposed to. This is a lesson that I pass on to anyone that I ever trained, and any of our trainers, I pass that information on to them. So it's important to have a secure area for the testing. And again, don't have people that are waiting to be tested standing right there over the people that are actually being tested. Have another area for them to wait further down the hall, maybe another room, something like that. I don't want anyone to have to go through what happened to me that day. So anyway, just wanted to pass on that information. You want to send your employees to the testing area in small groups, preferably not all at once. So if, let's say, you have 50 people that you need to be tested and you only have 1 or 2 collectors, you don't want to send 50 people at one time, because the people that are in the very back of the line are going to be waiting a long time to be tested, okay? Normally a drug and alcohol test, when combined, will take anywhere from, say, 8 to 10 minutes to complete. So if you only have 1 or 2 collectors, I said those people in the back of the line could be waiting for a few hours, and it kind of defeats the purpose of us being there and trying to get everyone tested and back to work in a timely manner. So again, just send them in small groups, say 5, 6 people. Once that group gets down, start making calls and get the next group to come in and get their testing done. Just don't want to notify everyone before the testing starts. You don't want to call a whole large group and say, okay, this group is going to come first. You're all being tested today. You want to wait till you actually contact them to say, okay, we're set aside your time to be tested. I need you to go right now to the testing area and take care of your tests. Okay. If you're doing ECCFs, and we prefer doing ECCF, the ECCF process, our on-site collectors for Diasa have been doing ECCF process for about 3 years now. It's been very successful for us. It helps testing, on-site testing goes very smooth. You don't have to have the forms on hand, and we take care of it all right there electronically using an iPad and a printer. But when we go, it's very helpful if you already have the ECCF authorizations ready. And basically you hand that to your person to be tested and tell them when they walk up to get tested, they hand that form to the person that's doing their test, to the collector. Then the collector just has to scan the barcode that's on that authorization and it pops up the test. It has all the information. They verify it with the photo ID and they begin the test. So it's a very simple process and works very well. Another thing is you always want to ask your employees when you call them to the testing area is ask them to bring a photo ID with them to the testing area. If you don't, we don't want to have to send them back. So normally what we do is we call the DER, whoever our contact is, to ask them to verify that person's identification. And then they'll normally sign off on it on the form stating that they identified that person. So again, it slows down the process. So just ask them to bring a photo ID with them. All right, so Diasa's on-site team. So our, excuse me, our technicians they're very qualified. We do a very stringent training program. We follow all the guidelines of 49 CFR Part 40. So again, they're responsible for securing the area where the testing is taking place. They're ensuring that the specimens are collected, that everything is secure, and that all the testing is done in accordance with the DOT guidelines, whether we're doing DOT or non-DOT testing. The average tenure of our on-site leaders is 10 years. So everyone that we have in a leadership position has been doing this for many years. They pass on their knowledge, their experiences to their collectors, and it makes for a very cohesive team, one that the teams that understand how this process works. They understand how to handle trouble situations, problem collections, and so on. Our on-site teams are ready to deploy, like I said, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We regularly travel across the U.S. Many times as an example, for my Pasadena on-site team here, we've done jobs all over Texas. We've done jobs in Louisiana, New Mexico, we've been in Kansas, even up to Michigan. Normally when we go to jobs that are that far of a distance away, they're normally jobs at refineries where we're going to be there for 2, 3, 4 weeks, and we'll send a team to go take care of the testing for them. We're capable of setting up in any type of industry, in their facilities, construction sites and warehouses, many heliports all along the Gulf Coast, and aboard motor vessels and offshore platforms. We do follow a very strict COVID safety protocol. Our collectors always wear masks. We do temperature checks. They wear gloves during the entire time they're doing the testing. It's to keep us safe and to keep the folks that we're testing safe as well. So here's a map that's showing some of our locations. As far as on-site employees are collectors that are just basically specialized in on-site testing, we have around 70 collectors spread out throughout the country. We have many more collectors than that work inside our collection facilities. But as far as mobile on-site technicians, we have around 70. We have 26 mobile units, again, scattered in different areas of the country. We average over probably 90,000 on-site collections per year. We do a lot of testing. And again, we can travel to collection sites and collect samples anywhere you operate. So this wraps up my presentation. Again, if anyone has any questions, here's my contact information. You always feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about on-site testing or how on-site testing may work for you. And I'll be more than happy to help. So I'd hope to hear from you. I thank all of you for being here today. I think Mackenzie had some questions for me.
Yes, thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
This brings us to our Q&A portion of today's presentation, and we do have time for a few questions that were submitted. And just a reminder, if you submitted a question that we aren't able to get to today, we will follow up with you following the webinar. Mark will probably reach out to you or someone on our team. So Mark, we do have a question.
Yeah.
How many people do I need to be testing for an on-site collector to make sense? What about a mobile unit?
Okay. Well, it's usually whether it's cost effective or not. If you have, say, one employee that needs to be tested, it may not be cost effective for us to drive 50 miles to your location to go test that one person, when you could send that one person to a local facility to be tested. Okay, we will gladly do it. If you want us to test one person, we can go and do one person. We prefer a guideline of basically 5 or more. But if you have one person, say that they can't leave a site, you have to get that person tested, absolutely, call us and we can assist you with that. As far as mobile units, mobile unit is normally it's a little added fee to use a mobile unit. So if you want to accrue that fee, that is fine. We'll use a mobile unit, or if you have facilities there at your site that we can use, it's a little cheaper route to go. Some people prefer it. Some prefer a mobile unit. Some will insist on a mobile unit. And we're glad to provide whatever service they need.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Yep.
Our next question is, you mentioned doing a point of collection test in some situation. Can you do only a point of collection, or is it only in conjunction with lab certified testing?
Okay. All the point of collection tests we do are always, they always have a lab account that is associated with it, okay? Meaning, and a reason is that, let's say there is a detection on the point of collection test, we have to send something to the lab for a confirmation. And if we don't have a lab account that is associated with it, then we can't do that. I've never done a job where they would just request a point of collection or a quick test without having something to verify it if there is a positive. I'm sure other companies probably have. In my experience, we haven't. We normally do a point of collection as long as we have a lab account, a lab-based account to associate with it, where we could send a sample to the lab if we needed a confirmation.
Okay. And then they're asking, where does Diasa provide mobile services? Is it anywhere in the U.S.?
It is anywhere in the U.S. As you saw on the map there are large areas where we don't have coverage for our own on-site teams. if it's a job, say, as I was talking about, we do a lot of refinery work where we're set up for turnaround services, and we will travel all over the country for that. But if, let's say, you're in the middle of Wyoming, we have nothing near anywhere in Wyoming, and you have 5 people that need to be tested. It doesn't make a lot of sense for us to go all the way from Indiana or here in Texas to drive up there or fly over there to go test 5 people. So in that case, Diasa does have a large network of collection sites that do on-site testing. And so we can assist you with setting up on-site testing at your location with someone that is closer to your location.
Okay, and we have one last question. Do you have to be a Diasa customer to use your on-site services?
No, you don't. We do a lot of testing, on-site testing for other third-party administrators like Diasa. And it'll be for their clients. And normally what happens is that TPA will request us to go out and do the testing. Once the testing is completed, we just bill them, and all we're billing for are the collections and on-site time. So we do that. Also, if you don't have a TPA but you want to do some testing, we could do that as well. We do what is called a service center only account. And so you don't actually have an account with Diasa or a policy set up with Diasa, but we can still take care of your on-site testing needs. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mark. I think that's all the questions we have time for today. Just wanted to remind you, if you did submit your question and we didn't get a chance to answer it, we will get back with you via email through your contact information to be able to provide you a more detailed answer. We also will be sending out the presentation through recording and the slides sometime either tomorrow or next week. Just check your email for that. And thank you so much, Mark, for everything. And if anybody has any other questions, you can see his information up on your screen. And thank you for joining us this afternoon.
And my pleasure. Thank you, Mackenzie, and thank you everyone for joining us. I greatly appreciate it.